All right, picture this. You've got the gritty, chalk-dusted, clanging iron vibes of Gold's Gym back in the 1970s, intense rivalries, and the sheer, unapologetic brutality of Arnold Schwarzenegger's training camps. It's literally legendary. But what actually happens when we take that raw, unfiltered physical destruction and pair it with the precise, clinical, evidence-based recovery science used by today's elite Olympic athletes? Well, today we're putting these two completely different worlds on a collision course to figure out the ultimate equation for physical adaptation. So, jumping right into this explainer, we've got to look at the extreme effort required for elite adaptation. And honestly, Arnold's unapologetic logic for high-intensity training just completely nails the mindset of the Austrian oak. He didn't believe in taking the easy road at all. Basically, if you want extraordinary results, you have to subject your body to extraordinary demands. Simple as that. Here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the Austrian oak's blueprint, step inside the Arnold split, and talk about shocking your muscles. Then we flip the script to the adaptive response, crack open the elite recovery playbook, and wrap it all up by busting some major recovery myths. Okay, part one, the Austrian oak's blueprint, specifically looking at his incredibly high volume and high frequency. Now, what's really wild about his 6-day split is how he'd frequently pair opposing muscle groups, like the chest and the back. And listen, this was not an accident. It allowed him to completely maximize supersets. Think about it. He could push his chest to the absolute limit on the bench press, and then instantly jump up onto a chin-up bar to exhaust his back. By hitting every single muscle group twice a week with this immense volume, he created a biological environment that essentially had zero choice but to grow. Moving right along to part two, inside the Arnold split, where we examine that incredibly fine line between pure agony and adaptation. You know, it's super easy to look at a 7-time Mr. Olympia and just think, oh, well, it was all genetics. But actually, even legends have weak points. Arnold really struggled with his leg development because he had super long legs and long muscle bellies. So how did he adapt? He compensated by enforcing these ridiculously short rest periods while grinding out heavy 8 to 12 rep squats with 300 to 400 pounds. He didn't shy away from the weakness. He absolutely attacked it with extreme metabolic stress to force those stubborn muscles to respond. Which brings us to part three, shocking your muscles, and how Arnold forced new growth when he inevitably hit a wall. Because when progress did stall out, he utilized something called the stripping method. Just imagine you're in the gym with Arnold and his training partner, Franco Columbu. You've just hit a brutal top set on the bench press at 365 pounds. Most people, they'd rest. Not Arnold. His partners would immediately strip plates off the bar and he'd grind out 5 more reps. Then they'd strip it again, 5 more reps. They'd repeat this whole process of pure agony with zero rest, all the way down until he was just pressing the 45-pound empty bar for a final set of 20 reps. This was literally designed to just completely shock the nervous system and the muscle fibers. Now here's where we pivot. Part 4, the adaptive response. This is the crucial yin to that insane training yang. Here is the absolute kicker. Muscle isn't actually built during those grueling sets we were just talking about. When you're in the gym, you're basically destroying tissue. You're dehydrating yourself, depleting your fuel, and causing micro-trauma all over your muscle fibers. The growth, the actual magic of transforming that fatigue into increased speed, strength, and size, strictly happens during the recovery phase. So if you're only focusing on the lifting, you are literally only doing half the work. To master that second half, let's open up part 5. The Elite Recovery Playbook, pulling straight from the UK Sports Institute's guidelines. See, the UK Sports Institute is in charge of keeping British Olympic and Paralympic athletes performing at a world-class level consistently. They don't do guesswork. They rely on hard clinical science. And they've narrowed optimal recovery down to these top 5 non-negotiable strategies. By comprehensively sticking to these exact pillars, elite athletes ensure that all those tissues they destroyed in training are built back up optimally. Let's break down the big ones. First up, and yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect, is sleep. It's the absolute foundation. The science is undeniably clear here. For athletes aged 14 to 17, you need 8 to 10 hours a night. For adults, it's 7 to 9 hours. Why? Because deep sleep is when your body enters an anabolic state. This is the exact physiological window where your muscles repair, where they build, and crucially, where complex neuromuscular skills get locked into your memory. You shortchange your sleep, you are literally shortchanging your own gains. In this strict biological timing, it extends right into your nutrition. When you eat after a brutal session is just as important as what you eat. The evidence-based guidelines give us a really specific two-step process to maximize that adaptive response. So, within 1 hour of intense training, you need a carb and protein-rich snack, think like milk and a banana. Then, within 2 hours, you've got to have a full nutrient-dense meal. This rapid refueling is exactly what flips the switch in your body from tissue breakdown to tissue repair. Also, you absolutely cannot talk nutrition without talking hydration, and you kind of have to be a math nerd about it. The UK Sports Institute points out that losing just 2% of your body weight in fluid can devastate your performance, totally crush your concentration, and severely compromise your immune system. So the golden rule? Weigh yourself before and after you train. For every single kilogram of body weight you lose to sweat, you have to replace it with a massive 1.5 liters of fluid, ideally sipping it over a few hours though, rather than just chugging it all at once. But hey, recovery isn't just biological, right? It's totally psychological too. Elite athletes have to maintain balance and an identity outside of their sport. This is so vital for managing emotional stress and avoiding the massive trap of physical burnout. Because if your entire self-worth is tied to your PR on the bench press, a bad training day can wreck you emotionally. And guess what? That spikes stress hormones which actively block your physical recovery. Keeping perspective and having a purpose beyond the sport is actually a clinically proven recovery strategy. All right, finally we arrive at part 6, recovery myths and mistakes. Let's look at what the science actually tells us to avoid. This part is going to blow your mind a bit because it totally contradicts practically every sports marketing ad on your social media feed. Take cold water immersion or ice baths. Science says they should actually be used sparingly. Sure, they might make you feel less sore, but there's evidence they can actually blunt the beneficial fitness adaptations your body is trying to make. Crazy, right? And on the completely not recommended list, consistent use of painkillers to mask soreness, whole body cryotherapy, and high-dose antioxidants. They just simply don't have the scientific backing, and in some cases, they might actually be doing more harm than good. So we're left with a pretty massive question. If you are going to attack your goals with the ferocity, the insane volume, and the borderline madness of the Austrian Oakiness Prime, you have to have a recovery protocol that heals your body with the precision of modern clinical science. You absolutely cannot have the yin without the yang. So take a hard look at your routine today. Which half of the equation are you missing?